Thank you, Dr. Sharma, for providing me a platform to say something about women health. Generally, it is considered that male are stronger than female. Sorry, yes. And it is universally accepted, but there is some exception. Male are stronger, but women are tougher. There is some, except from reproductive system, almost all the systems are similar for male and female. Their female lung is smaller than male, and their bone is also lighter than male. There are some differences. Otherwise, female are tougher than male, and they have to face different types of situation. I'll talk something about female from childhood to the early age. From the beginning, I'm going to share something, the slide share, and then I'll say something about that. From the teenage, the girls who is above 6, they have to go to the school. They are always in rush, live in a hurry up world, always busy parents, because nowadays parents are also working. They don't care about the children. They don't have time to take care of the children. So children are also in a hurry up world, and parents are also busy. There is school pressure, college pressure. They have to go to school. They have to do homework. They hardly get time to play. They nowadays they are always with a computer, laptop, because online classes are going on. So there is another type of pressure now they are facing. Highly competitive environment, because everyone has to do hard work. They have to compete others. They have to secure good position in the school as well as in the colleges. So highly competitive environment, sedentary lifestyle, diet mostly comprising of unhealthy fast food, because parents, they don't have time to cook food at home. The children, they mostly go to the restaurant. They eat unhealthy food like junk food, stale, oily food, pizza, burger, etc., which is not good for health. Developing muscle and bone. During adolescence, there are different changes in the physical appearance. Most receptive in this age, because of the hormonal changes, they face a lot of challenges, the girls. Pre-teens and teens undergoing rapid physical and physiological changes, because secondary growth takes place at that time, and they feel slightly different because they don't know what is going to happen with their body, because it should be educated from the beginning. If it is not, then they psychologically they suffer under immense peer pressure. They are always in pressure because it is competitive environment, and if they will not get proper care, then of course they will be in the pressure. Poor body image. Nowadays, they hardly get time to do some physical exercises. No one is there to teach them what should be the posture, and how they should treat, what are the exercises they should do, what are the which type of lifestyle they should follow. So the poor body image. If they will do yoga regularly, actually we have to introduce yoga to them from the beginning, at least from 6 years onwards. If they will do yoga regularly, some asanas, pranayamas, and in the beginning only asanas for the teenagers. After 6 years, they can be introduced Tadasana, because Tadasana, it has been seen that Tadasana delays the process of calcification. So if the girls will do Tadasana from the beginning, their height will be good, and for better growth and physical development, asanas are good for them. After that, after 8 plus, they can be introduced some pranayamas, breathing exercises, and so on. If they will do proper yoga, then they will have stronger flexible bones and muscles. If they will have flexible bones and muscles, physically they will feel, and mentally as well. Better posture and functioning of the body. If they will do yoga properly, then there will be no problem, because mostly they are doing, they are sitting for longer duration in a particular posture. So if you will do yoga, they will move their body, they will do walking, cycling, and yogic postures. Then it will improve their posture and as well as functioning of the body. Help prevent stress injuries from the sports, help loosen tighter muscles and joints. If they will do proper yoga, then it will help them to strengthen their body structure as well as to make the muscles supple. It is good. Then they will have less injury from the sports because it is good. It strengthens the muscles and joints and bones, everything. So it will be good for them. Create body awareness and healthy eating habit. Yoga also teaches them how to eat in a healthy lifestyle, how to imbibe a healthy lifestyle, about the yogic diet, what should be the timing, quality and quantity of food, and whatever they are doing, if they are doing asanas, they should be do with the full awareness. If they are doing forward bending, what should be the breathing sequence, and in backward bending, in stretching, they should do some balancing posture to improve the self-confidence. So it should be taught to them from the beginning onwards. If the base will be strong, then they will grow properly and there will be no any emotional or physical problem with them. Physiological and psychological benefits. It boosts self-confidence. If they will do yoga, they will boost self-confidence, because if someone is doing yoga, it helps in adjustment. Actually, they will cope up with the situation very easily. Acceptance of rapid changes during puberty. If you do yoga regularly, then hormonal balance will be there and it will help them to accept the rapid changes during puberty. Helps people self-esteem and concentration. Yoga helps in building concentration and it will improve the self-esteem as well. Better mind-body connection, healthy mindset. We know that prana is the link between body and mind. So if if the girl will do asana pranayam, then pranayam will help them to get the stable mind, because during adolescence there are a lot of physical and mental changes. So if pranayam will be introduced, then they can cope up with the situation very easily. So it is good for them to do asana as well as pranayam, and later on meditation. It helps in stress relieving as well. So overall they will feel well. So it is good for the overall feeling of well-being. Now, after growing up, of course, they will do some job. Nowadays, everyone is doing jobs. So now we are talking about some common challenges for modern working women. Severe headaches, because nowadays working women are doing some shift job. I was also doing, the job is like that. They will have some job in the morning shift, afternoon shift, night shift. So the shift changes. So biorhythm will also not work properly. They will, working women, they will get lot of problems out of because of the job profile. They can feel severe headaches, blurred vision, because they are working continuously on the computer. So blurred vision will may be one of the cause. Fatigue or confusion, chest pain, difficulty in breathing, because the posture is not good, posture will not be good, and they will sitting for the longer duration in front of computer doing some office work. So there will be problem in difficulty in breathing also, palpitation or irregular heart rate, and pounding in the chest because of the less physical activity, hypertension, insomnia, backache, obesity, polycystic ovarian syndrome, difficulty feeling asleep, wake up frequently during nights, wake up too early in the morning, lie awake at night, tossing and turning, regularly tired on waking. If the women will not sleep properly in the night, if they will have sleep disturbances, then of course they will wake up tired. If because sleep If the sleep is induced properly, then they will wake up fresh. Otherwise, entire day they will feel tired. Daytime sleepiness. If the sleep is disturbed in the night, in the daytime, during the working period, during the working hour, they will feel sleepiness. Upper, lower, or middle back pain. Because of the posture, they can feel pain. They can have backache, maybe upper, lower, or middle back pain. Nighttime back pain, mild to severe. They can have back pain because the sleep is not proper, posture is not proper, so they can feel backache, mild to medium or maybe severe back pain. Breathlessness, because of the breathing is not proper, if they are always in stress, they will do shallow breathing, so they will have the problem of breathlessness because they are not utilizing their entire lung. The lower portion of the lung is not utilized if they are doing shallow breathing, so they should be introduced deep breathing. So breathlessness is one of the problems working women can face. Increased sweating, snoring, difficulty sleeping, sleep disturb. These are the parts of sleep disturbances. Inability to cope with the sudden physical activity, feeling very tired after every day's work, back and joint pain, menstrual disturbances, hormonal changes takes place. That's why menstrual disturbances, elevated level of male hormone, androgen. Because of the elevated level of androgen, they can have acne, extra growth of the hair. They will have different problems, changes in the mood, irregular menstrual cycle. There are many problems due to androgen. So they can feel that because of the elevated level of androgen. If they will do yoga regularly, they will have different types of benefits, because if the working women will do yoga regularly, there will be balanced secretion of hormones. Because of the hormonal changes, hormonal disturbances, there are different problems like they can have hyper or hypothyroidism, they can have stress related problem, they can have diabetes. These are the problems they are facing because of the hormonal disturbances. So if they will do yoga regularly like Surya Namaskar, if they don't have time, just they can do Surya Namaskar and little bit of meditation or and breathing exercises, pranayam, at least Nadi Shodhan or Anulom Vilom. That will be very effective for them. They should spare at least 15 to 20 minutes every day in the morning or in the evening. They will have balanced secretion of hormones if they will do yoga regularly. Yoga revitalizes the nervous system. Because it balances the sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system due to different types of physical movement. It helps in making the muscle supple, and it revitalizes the nervous system, improves blood circulation. Because of the muscle, it increases the muscle tone as well and makes the muscle supple and improves blood circulation, relaxes any tension in the muscles, controls the emotion. Emotion is directly linked with the meditation, but again, with meditation, asana and pranayam is also important. If they will be perfect in asana and pranayam, then only they will be able to do meditation. Because for meditation, for successful meditation, prerequisite is sitting in a comfortable pose and control over prana. For controlling the pranayama is important. Maharishi Patanjali has described that Sthiram Sukham Asanam. If the asana will be, the posture will be stable, then only person will be able to do pranayam. And he has also said that the duality will also vanish if they will do continuously pranayam. There will be no experience of pleasure and pain, hunger or thirst. So they should be perfect in asana. Then only they should do pranayam. And then when they will be perfect in pranayam, then only they can continue meditation. Meditation is not very difficult. They should simply sit in a comfortable pose. They should start with visualizing their breath only. They can start with that only for 5 minutes, and they can gradually increase the timing, and it will definitely work. So For controlling the emotion, they should do meditation every day, at least for 5 to 10 minutes. And then asana practice stimulates immune system. It improves the immunity also, because for there is sleep disturbance. So if there will be sleep disturbance, of course the immunity will also be hampered. Immunity will be weaker for them. So it is good to do some for Bhramari Pranayam. It has been seen that if someone is doing Bhramari Pranayam, then the secretion of melatonin increases, which is a hormone which induces sleep. So if the person will do Bhramari Pranayam in the night, at least for 5 to 10 rounds, then it is easier for them to sleep properly. So the girls, working women, they should do Bhramari Pranayam and Nadi Shodhan. Both has tranquilizing effect and it induces sleep also. So before sleep, they should do Bhramari Pranayam, Om chanting. It reduces the stress and induces proper sleep. In this way, it will help the immune system as well. It will stimulate immunity. As the practice of yoga reduces stress and tension, it boosts self-esteem, improves concentration and work efficiency. Because of the proper posture, because if they will do yoga, there will be proper blood circulation, memory power will also increase because of the pranayam, and in this way they can they can concentrate on their work and their work efficiency will also increase. Helpful in all type of sleep disturbances. As I told you, if they will do Bhramari Pranayam, Om chanting before sleep, if they will do some yogic posture, because if the posture will be improved, if the blood circulation will be proper, then there will be no sleep disturbance. They can sleep properly because hormonal balance will be there. Help in weight loss. Working women always gain weight because their work is to sit for longer duration on the same chair. So they have problem with the weight gain, obesity. So if they will do yoga properly, it will help them to reduce weight as well. It strengthens the respiratory system. Pranayam, if they will do deep breathing, it will help in strengthening the respiratory system as well. Women, I was talking about working women. Now the problem is with the pregnancy, because male, they don't have to face all these problems. Female, they face this problem. They during pregnancy, there are different types of complaints they are facing: morning sickness, backache, heartburn, breathlessness, hormonal changes and imbalance, edema, weight gain, constipation and incontinence. These problems they are getting because of the when the embryo gets, the size gets larger and larger, because of the weight they get constipation and incontinence. They feel breathlessness because they don't have enough space to breathe deeply. So these are the problems they are facing, and there are few hormonal changes also. Because of that, they are mentally disturbed. So yoga helps them a lot to face all these difficulties, the common complaints. Prenatal yoga. There are few yoga, like they can do forward bending asana, Marjari asana, cat pose. They can do Tadasana, Tirek Tadasana, Kati Chakrasana. In the beginning, they can do Neti Kunjal also. After first trimester, they should stop doing this. And there are different asana, forward, backward, the combination of forward and backward bending asana they can do. Purna Titli asana to strengthen the pelvic floor. They can do Vajrasana, Ustrasana, all the asanas, not very strenuous one, but they can do all asanas in the beginning for first trimester. Second trimester, they should reduce the practices, but they can continue all the practices, but not the strenuous work, but they should give emphasis on meditation and pranayama. They should do meditation, they should meditate around the womb with the Om chanting, so that the positive energy goes to the womb. It is good for the womb as well as for the would be mother also. So what are the practices they should do? I already told you. They can increase different practice. They can do according to, with variation, they can do different yoga postures, but I cannot tell you the name because it varies from person to person, and yoga should be done according to the capacity only. If someone is having someone is obese with hypertension, then of course the set of yoga practices which they are supposed to do will be different. So I cannot tell you the name, but yoga they can do under the guidance of uh, qualified yoga practitioner. They should do yoga till the end, till the delivery. They can do few practices. So it depends on person to person. Overall, what are the benefits of prenatal yoga? It encourages gentle stretching, focus on breath to relax the mind. They feel difficulty in breathing, but they can always be aware of the breathing sequence. Whenever their awareness will be there on the breathing sequence, then of course they will do deep breathing. Their emphasis will be on the deep breathing. They will do deep breathing according to their capacity. Keeps the mind calm and reduces anxiety and stress. Yoga keeps the mind calm and it reduces anxiety and stress because of the hormonal changes they are in stress. So yoga will be very helpful for them. It will keep the mind calm. They will easily accept the situation and they will be calm, and it is good for the child also. Emphasized good posture, because in this situation, because of the size of the womb, it is growing day by day, so they have problem with the backache. Their posture will be different. So yoga helps in improving the good posture. It emphasizes on the good posture. It strengthens and conditions the vital muscle group to ease pregnancy, labor, and recovery. If they will do yoga regularly, there are many researches. If the pregnant women they do yoga regularly, their labor becomes very easy, and after delivery recovery will also be very easy for them, because yoga works on different types of muscles. Certain series like modified cat pose can position the baby for delivery. It helps in delivery, and during delivery they can do Bhramari pranayam. It also helps in easy delivery. Twist encourages blood flow to reproductive organs to correct hormonal imbalance. So spinal twist is also very good for them. Decrease lower back pain, nausea, carpal tunnel syndrome, headache, and soothness of breath. So yoga helps in different aspect of the women, different aspect of the personality. Decrease the risk of preterm labor, pregnancy-induced hypertension, and intrauterine growth restriction, a condition that slows a baby growth. So yoga overall helps in labor as well as after labor in recovery of the post, because after labor women gets obese, and there is some hormonal changes also, emotional changes. So yoga helps in to cope up with the situation the pregnant lady faces during and after pregnancy. There is another problem, menopause. After 45, between 45 to 55, they face problem of premenopausal problem and menopause. So if they will do yoga regularly, they can cope up with the situation easily, because again there is hormonal changes. It is very difficult to cope up with the menopause. It is easy to handle puberty, but it is very difficult to handle menopause, because during that time lot of hormonal changes are there, physical changes are there, they get obese. So there is some problem with the mind setup, they get stressed and hormonal changes are there. So yoga helps a lot for them, and with yoga diet is also very good for them. They have to take care of the diet in the menopause and in the later age, in the when they get elderly, when they get old. So during that time, yogasanas and pranayama and meditation, it is very helpful. Menopause, what happens in menopause? Vaginal atrophy, hot flashes in the night, weight gain, headaches, digestive upset, dizzy spells, palpitation, blood pressure irregularities, insomnia, lethargy, irritability, and depression. Negative attitude towards the distressing life changes. So these are the problems they are facing because of the hormonal disturbance. So they should take care of that, as well as of course for diet they should be very careful, because what happens during this time, vitamin D is required, vitamin E is required. After 30, bone density also decreases, so they should take supplement of calcium, at least the natural food. They should take sprouts for vitamin E. They should take milk for that, and vitamin D, F, and calcium is very important for them. So they should take care of the diet. They should have a lot of nuts, green veggies, whole meal, everything, wheat. These are the essential components they should uh, include in their diet. After menopause, there is another problem of aging. Old age women, physically changes due to aging can occur is almost organ. Like old age, all the organs become weak. This is not for women, as it is for male also. So there are a lot of changes in elderly person. Maybe it is men or women. So they all are facing these problems. Menopause is different, but aging, it is common problem for all people. So what they are facing, inflammation of joint due to wear and tear, synovial fluid decreases, or they can feel the problem of the joint pain, arthritis, diabetes, hypertension, Alzheimer's or Parkinson's disease, osteoporosis because of the low level of calcium in the bones, impaired control of blood glucose, obesity, improper diet, stroke, poor vision, hearing impairment, balance problem, calcium deficiency resulting in bone density, degeneration leading to fragile bone susceptible to injury. So they should take extra supplement for calcium, and they should take care of their vitamin D, and of course all the ingredients which is good for them. They should include all things in their food, and of course they should do regularly all the yogic practices which is required for them. They should do neti. All the in Shatkarma, they can only include, but again depends on person to person. But neti is good for them. They should do neti regularly because it improves concentration and reduces stress and anxiety and depression as well. So they can do regularly neti. It has soothing effect, calming effect, and in they can do sukshma prayams. Very few practices which is good for them, not strenuous one, because if they will do strenuous practice, that is not according to their capability, so they can face some problems. That's why they should do some mild practices like Pavan Muktasan, which is known as Sukshma Pranayam. They can do Tadasan, Tirya Tadasan, Katti Chakrasan, mild spinal twist, Janusirshasan, and other mild asanas, which is helpful in relaxation, because there will be proper blood circulation if they will move their body to a certain extent. It will be helpful in relaxation of the joints and gentle regular stretching and loosening to improve use of all joints. So joint exercises they should do. In Swami Ram tradition, there is joints and gland exercises which is almost similar to Pavan Muktasan part 1 or Sukshma Vyayam in other discipline. Arthritis, diabetes, Alzheimer or Parkinson's disease, osteoporosis, etc. It is helpful for them. Sukshma Vyayam. Asanas to be practiced gently without strain. Because of the aging, they will have weaker organs. So they should take care of their body. They should do according to their capacity only. But the emphasis should be on the correct sequence of breathing, and awareness should be on the different physical postures. If they are doing forward bending asana, then of course they should follow it with the backward bending asanas because the counter pose is required for that. If they are doing left side turn, left bending asana, they should do right bending also. So they should do the counter pose for the maximum benefit. They can do mild pranayama also like Kapalbhati, Bhramari and Ujjayi, which are very useful in balancing the nervous system. It reduces blood pressure, helpful in insomnia because after certain age they feel they get problem with the sleeping. They get sleep disturbances. They get early in the morning. They get irritated because of the less sleep. So for them, Brahmari pranayam is good. They can do balancing pranayam, Nari Shodhan, because it has tranquilizing effect. It calms the mind. So Brahmari or Anulom Vilom is good for them. They can do it. And Ujjayi, it helps in reducing the blood pressure. So they should do Ujjayi pranayam. In hypertension, it is very good. They can do Yoga Nidra to achieve blissful state of awareness and for complete relaxation because they get up early in the morning and 45 minutes of Yoga Nidra is equivalent to 4 hours sleep. So if they can do Yoga Nidra, they will require the fulfillment of complete sleep. So they should continue doing Yoga Nidra practice. Meditation, they should do meditation, which improves the condition of anxiety, depression, and pain. Meditation promotes emotional health and positive outlook towards life. So they should do meditation. So, in the nutshell, it is said that in late age, in the after 60s, they should do mild asanas, some pranayamas, which is not very strenuous, some yoga nidra technique and some meditation. They can continue this for easy life. For they will be stress-free life and they can have positive attitude towards the life. So life will be easy for them. And they should do in a group to get the maximum benefit. They will also feel good with the togetherness also. So they should have good company as well as they should do all these mild practices daily without break. It will be good for them. I will talk a little bit about pranayama. Breathing should be diaphragmatic, not thoracic or clavicular, because deep breathing helps in reducing the level of stress. If they will do shallow breathing, then it is very bad for them because it increases the level of stress, and deep breathing reduces the level of stress. Almost in all ages we are facing different types of stress, so diaphragmatic breathing is always good for them. Breathing should be deep and complete. Breathing should be smooth, not jerky. It should be silent. No pause between inhalation and exhalation. It is for all age group. Breath is the vehicle of prana, the life force, the vital energy. So they should do deep breathing, because if they will do deep breathing, their whole alveoli, all alveoli, the lower portion of the alveoli will also be utilized. There will be proper gaseous exchange. Nutrition will reach to different body parts of the body. There will be proper lymphatic circulation also, blood circulation as well as lymphatic circulation. So deep breathing is required for them. They can either do deep breathing, diaphragmatic breathing in the Shavasana position or in Makarasana position. That will be very good for them. So there are few benefits of deep breathing. Advantages of diaphragmatic breathing: it increases stroke volume and reduces respiration rate, because we know that the horse is the dog is panting and their lifespan is very less, 12 hours, and for tortoise they do deep breathing and they live at least for 200 years. So we can get example from them, and it is good for them, good for us also to do deep breathing. It increases efficiency of gas transfer in the lungs, improves coronary circulation, reduces heart rate and load on the heart, lowers blood pressure, stimulates lymphatic circulation, massages abdominal organs, reduces sympathetic tone, increases parasympathetic tone, body becomes relaxed, mind becomes calm, therapeutic for anxiety states because it has calming effect. So everyone should do deep breathing whenever they get time. At least twice a day they should do pranayam, diaphragmatic breathing. It can be different types of pranayam, but the breathing should be diaphragmatic. Everyone should take care of that. And whenever we will be aware, we will be aware of our breathing pattern. Will deep breathe deeply. So we should take care of the breathing pattern. We should always do deep breathing, diaphragmatic breathing. And now I will talk something about the overall benefits of yogic postures. Yogic practices of Shatkarma, Asana, Pranayama, and Dhyana support the overall health of women from childhood to old age. Many lifestyle issues that lead to lifestyle chronic diseases are also resolved through regular yoga practice. Stress at any age affects the mind-body complex. Negativity and is the root of all health disorders in one way or another. Yoga provides a way for us to relieve ourselves of stress. A positive lifestyle with regular practice of yoga can assure that people can live healthier and happier lives without the onset of disease and degenerative ailments. But yoga should be introduced from the beginning also only. Then they will feel different positive effect out of that. And at the in the end, I would like to talk something about yogic diet. Everyone, it is not about only female, only about women, it is about men also. They should take care of their diet. They should take yogic diet, sattvic diet, and they should take care of the quality, timing, and quantity of time. The timing should be taken care. They should eat breakfast in the morning, lunch during the daytime, and dinner before sunset, because our digestive system works according to the sun. The Manipur chakra is associated with the strength of the sun. During the daytime, our digestive system works properly, but in the evening, it becomes sluggish. So, if we'll take after sunset, we'll take dinner, then it will be difficult for us to digest the food and toxins will be accumulated, which will be very harmful for us. It will lead to different types of diseases. So we should take care of the timing of food. It is already said that the breakfast should be like a prince, lunch like a king, and dinner like a beggar. So we should take care of the timing of food, which is very important. Second is quality of food. We should not take stale, oily, and spicy food, frozen fruit. These fruits we should avoid, because in the digestion of food, our body spends energy to digest the food. So if we will take sattvic food, which is with lot of prana, then we will get lot of pranic energy for the smooth functioning of different body organs. But if we will take stale food, oily and spicy food, junk food, we will not get any pranic energy out of it. So the emphasis is on the sattvic food, intake of sattvic food. We know the definition of sattvic food. We should try to take sattvic food, which is good for us. We'll get lot of pranic energy out of it. In the Kirlian photography, it has been proved that the fresh food, fresh vegetables, they are having lot of prana, and it gives us prana as well. So the quality of food is also very important. Last one is quantity of food. Whatever we are taking, we should at least keep 1/4 empty for the proper digestion of food. It has been said that susnigdh madur aharas chaturthansh vivarjayat. For 1/4 of the portion, we should keep empty for the proper digestion. And whatever we are before lunch and after lunch, at least half an hour gap should be there. We should drink water before half an hour and after half an hour of lunch or dinner, whatever we are taking, because if it dilutes our enzymes, then it will be difficult for us for the proper digestion of food. So we should take care of the drinking of water as well before and after the food. That's it I want to say. Thank you so much. If you have any query, please let me know.